right, guys. I'm really excited because for those of you that don't know me, I'm going to give you a little backstory. So I am a little spiritual witch hippie.
I think when you say spiritual witch, people are like scared.
So I genuinely, I believe in the law of attraction. I believe in manifestation, but I also do believe in astrology, right? I believe in human design. Not even that I believe, I study astrology. I study human design. I genuinely base my life off of moon phases and where I know I need to be based off of like my body and my intuition, right? So I also have little ritual practices, right? Like I sage and I do incense and I work with herbs and I do all of the things. So when I say that I'm like a little spiritual hippie witch, your girl did ayahuasca. I mean, like
it takes a special person to jump into that. So
you know what I mean? Like take it as you will, but it's something that I genuinely feel like has molded and helped me grow into like who I am. So with all that being said, I'm really excited about this topic for this week. It's all about romanticizing our lives, right? Whether people are living in delusion, right? Or reality. And the hot take that the hot topic, right now that everyone loves to run with is like manifestation, right? But what people don't understand is like manifestation and delusion, I think, are very often confused.
100%.
And people think that this dream life is just going to come out of nowhere because they wrote it down on a paper 17 times under a full moon and drank moon water. Like that's not how it works. So yeah, I'm like really excited about this week's topic.
I think we both, because like that's what kind of completely turned me off from all of it is because I'm very much like, you have to put the work in to get it. No one and nothing is going to help you with it because it's not like a handout. So when I would hear about like manifest, write this down 7 times and like this is gonna happen, I would be like, what are they actually doing though to get that to happen? Like, are they insane?
This is like where I'm really excited to jump into it.
Yeah.
So at its core, right, for anyone who does manifestations, or has practiced like the form of manifesting, at its core, manifestations I feel like are prayers or they're high vibrational thoughts and ideas and passions, right, that you're putting on paper. Now, the only way that manifestations work, right, is you have to be so open and honest with yourself and with reality, right? So when I got into like manifestation and the whole art form of like law of attraction, right, I was at a point where I realized that there were so many things coming at me at once, right? Like I felt like everything was like falling and like crashing on me. And I sat down one day and I was like, holy shit, why the fuck is everything coming at me right now?
Yeah, like what can I do?
Like,
I'm grasping at straws.
Yeah, and like at that point I just felt like I was, every time I like came up for air, like another like boulder fell on me. So I sat down and I had like a hard like conversation with myself and I was like, all right, what is going on? Now, let me go ahead and preface by saying that as I was having this conversation with myself, I was going to Reiki circles, which if you're not familiar with Reiki, it's just a form of energy healing, right? Where you have a Reiki practitioner that helps like move your energy, right, while you're like meditating. And for me, it was really healing because that moment to just like meditate and like sit with myself while they worked on me really allowed for me to like reflect on the day, right? So I actually was at a Reiki circle this particular day and I had one of the worst freaking weeks I have had in my life. And I remember that they were, before the circle started, this practitioner went ahead and said, okay, so today we are releasing any doubts and fears that we have. And when you release those doubts and fears, it's going to allow you to then implement, right, the manifestations that you want to step into. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I have about 900 fears.
Yeah, I don't have enough time in this session.
And
to get
one piece of paper. So like, how are we doing this, right? So she was like, okay, most of those fears end up like tailing one on another that come from like one genuine fear, right? So I was like, okay, like, let's figure out where I'm at. As we were having this conversation, she goes, you're probably at such a low vibrational frequency that like you're calling all of this to you, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to put a pin in this story, okay? So that you can understand like where this is going, okay? As beings, right, that live like on this earth with blood pumping through our bodies, we are all vibrating. Like currently right now we're sitting here and our body is vibrating, right? Our blood is vibrating, the planet's vibrating. All these things have atoms in it that are vibrating, right? So if you're vibrating at a frequency that is low, okay, because all you can think of is doom and gloom.
Me, my whole thought process in my head.
This episode's for you, bitch. Okay? If you're here, okay, but all of the things that you're wanting and seeking, right?
Is up
happiness, peace, financial freedom, love, abundance, those do not vibrate where fear, doom and gloom vibrate, right? So in order to move your frequency, right, and allow those manifestations to come in, you have to like clear where you're at. So I'm sitting there meditating and I'm like, okay, I have all of these bad things happening to me and all of these bad things are happening to me. Why? And then as soon as I said that question, all I kept thinking was, well, all these bad things are going to happen to you because of this and this and this. And then I realized I was the reason that all these bad things were happening to me. Because no matter how many times I tried to think of a way out of that mindset, I just kept drawing myself back in.
You're thinking the what ifs.
The what ifs and the nothing's going to change. No matter what you do, you're not going to get out of this. So I got out of the meditation. The Reiki session ended. And after the circle, you know, you talk and stuff. And I looked at the girl who was a really good friend of mine at the time. I looked at her and I said, okay, I understand that I myself have the problem. Me. But I don't know how to step out of this.
Yeah.
And she said, okay, you cannot write manifestations down, right? If you do not have a clear vision of who it is that you want to be and who it is that you want to step into. As soon as she said that, something immediately changed in my mind. And I said, oh, okay, Chrissy 2.0. That's who I want to become. I want to become a better, healed version of myself, a more positive, more aligned person of myself that is no longer at this frequency of sadness, right? Now, if I would have just taken that, okay, and I would have written down, I want a life of abundance, I want freedom, and I want peace on a piece of paper.
Yeah,
and I crumbled it up, right? And I put it under my pillow with a crystal. I would still be a doom and gloom, sad human, right? Because I did not do anything to physically change how I was showing up.
Yeah, because if you thought writing this on a paper is all that it's going to take, then every day you wake up and nothing's changing, you would be...
You're living in fucking delusion.
Yeah, you're
I'm
sitting
sorry,
there...
but you're delulu as all hell. Just because you speak something into the universe does not mean that your vibration or what you're attracting is going to change. Quite literally, the law of attraction is you're going to attract what you are. So if you just write down on a piece of paper every single morning, I am happy, if when you go out through your day, you're not thinking happy thoughts or doing things to make yourself happy, you're just a depressed person that's writing down that you're happy.
And then you're building resentment for that piece of paper because nothing's working.
Absolutely. Which is quite literally what I had done in the past, right? Like I mean, healing and growing and evolving and changing your mindset is a forever like growing thing, right? I think that the human experience is very much like an onion, right? Once you peel off one layer, there's 700 layers for you to unpeel.
You're always going to go through different experiences and challenges.
Absolutely. 100%. But I think when you grasp the concept of how it is that you can change and how it is that you can pivot, and you master the ability to change your mindset, you unlock something that is like, it's gold. It is literally gold here on earth. So I go home and I write down on a piece of paper, Chrissy 2.0, right? The thing that I had done in the past is I had wrote down all the things that I thought would make me happy, right? Mm-hmm. What I realized after that Reiki session was I needed to write down all of the things that I wanted to step into. Yeah. All of the things that I needed to start becoming in order for my manifestations and the things that I wanted in life to become a reality, right? If I knew that Chrissy 2.0 was a happier person, right? She, in my head, she wakes up every morning, 5:30 in the morning, right? She walks her dogs. She goes on a walk with her husband. She makes herself coffee. She journals. She sets aside time to get ready in the morning. On her way to work, what kind of music does she listen to, right? Mm-hmm. What kind of mood does she come into work with? How does she show up for her clients? Yeah. Even as detailed as how does she dress? Yep. Right? I wrote all of these things down on a piece of paper. And after I wrote them down, I then took it as far as to, okay, what are the things that I can tackle now that I can start stepping into this, right? As I little by little started stepping into this version of myself that I wanted to become, the manifestations and the prayers that I had slowly started falling into place, right? I wanted to live a life of freedom and flexibility, right? That freedom and flexibility then came along with me having a fully booked schedule. Yeah. Right? Where I did have freedom and flexibility at work and I was still making great money. I wanted to have a really healthy understanding of my body and food, which then followed with me losing weight, going to the gym. All of these things just started falling into place beautifully, right? And that was a moment where I was like, holy shit, manifestation does work when you put in the work and the effort for it.
I think people stop manifestation at writing it down and letting it do its thing.
Absolutely.
But if they look at the whole process, which is writing it down to change your mindset and your perspective and make a plan with it, that's when it works. Yep. But when you're doom scrolling on TikTok, they don't talk about that. They are like, oh, it's a full moon tomorrow. Make sure you do this many times and do it at this location and this is all going to happen for you.
It's honestly something that's just become such a hot take, right? Such a hot topic. I can't tell you how many clients of mine, because I'm a sound healer. I'm a Reiki practitioner. And when like I had clients that found out I did that, I had so many people wanting me to do it at the salon. And for a very short period of time there, I was doing like really small healings at work. But then I started to like fall out of love with it because it was that thing, right? There's instant gratification and there's an instant feeling of relief after a Reiki session. 100% guaranteed. Everyone that's ever had one has been like, holy shit, I feel amazing right after. But if you don't understand at the core what to do after that to have yourself still feel good and make sure that you like keep yourself on a maintenance schedule per se.
I was just gonna say it's maintenance. If you get an oil change on your car and never get it again, that's not gonna benefit the car. Like you need 100%. To stay on schedule, stay on routine, be disciplined mentally and physically.
I mean, I still maintenance myself like that, right? Like I go to someone once a month right now who I go and do like a whole, I mean, it is a like 8-hour day that I'm with her. And we're talking about like where I am emotionally, where I am mentally, where I am spiritually, how I'm feeling, where it is that I need to work on, like what are the things that I'm not seeing properly and that I need to like pivot my mindset. But I think that there needs to be like some type of like self-awareness with yourself. But it is just so much easier for people, I think, to live in delusion to romanticize the heck out of this falsified illusion of what manifestation and like delusion can like mold itself into. Do I believe that at their core there's something there? Absolutely, because it's happened to me. I've seen it like 100%. I know that it works. I know that it's real, but it's just having the ability to know, okay, this is what I want. This is what I have to change. This is where my mindset's at. Let's pivot it, right? But I just don't know if everyone understands that.
I think either people have gone through stuff that's kind of like trauma blocked them from being open to it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Or they're lazy and they don't want to put the work in. So it's easier to blame manifestation isn't working.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and there's so much that goes into it, right? Like you cannot manifest, like you can't start manifesting without like clearing limiting beliefs, right? Like we all have limiting beliefs. They're beliefs that have been instilled in us like from a young age. They also are generational mindsets that you're born into, right? If you don't understand what those are, you can like manifest all you want, but at that point manifestation is just a word, right?
Yeah.
Like for instance, I used to struggle with a scarcity mindset. I came from a family that I had everything that I needed, but I was aware of the fact that like
there's more out there and other people.
Exactly, right? And like financially there was differences between my family and like kids I was growing up with, right? I also have always had the sense of like needing to like hoard my money and like keep my money and like I can't spend it.
I never spent anything growing up. Allowance money, then never left the bank. It was in a little lockbox. And that's a
scarcity mindset. That's a mindset that no matter how hard you work and no matter how successful you try to be, the vibration that you're at will not allow you to make more money because you are living you're living a life of wanting more money. Yeah. The universe will not give you more money if you want more money. The universe is very black and white, right? It's like an old cantankerous man who has no sense of humor. It gives you exactly what you want. You want a life of wanting more money, you're going to have a life of wanting more money, right? Yeah. If you understand that money is an energetic exchange, it comes and goes, money comes to you and it flows to you, then you will have a life where money just comes to you and flows to you. But I did not understand that for a really long time. I just always said, I need money, I need to have money, I need to be successful, I need to have money. And then one day I was having a conversation with my person, Laura, who's like my like guru in life, I swear. And I was sitting with her and I was like, so this is my mindset. I don't know why. And she was like, oh, that comes from scarcity.
And it clicked. Yeah. It was
and I looked at her and I was like, excuse I'm not scared of shit. What do you mean? I do well for myself. I'm not scared of money. And she was like, oh, no, yeah, you are. Like something happened in your life where like you think that you have to be like a squirrel and like hoard your money. Yeah. And then the more we talked about it, I was like, holy shit.
And that was me like going into my own business ventures was I'm not going to spend this until I have this. And I don't want to spend this until I book this. And until I started saying, no, I have the money right now to do this and to feed into it. Let me do it. That's when it started coming back to me. Yeah. Because it shows commitment as a business owner and it shows your energy that you're putting into it is more than the actual physical materialistic things that are in front of you. But I also see it when I'm speaking with potential clients on like consult calls and they have such a tight limited budget as a small business that's just starting out to put into business growth. And it's very common to be scared to feed into it because in your head it's I need to only put in a certain amount of what I'm getting back from this business right now. But if you don't widen that budget to outside of what you're getting, you're never going to get. Grow. No. You're never going to get.
If you allow the fear of not making money hold you back, you will never make money.
Never.
It's impossible. You cannot make money out of fear. Like imagine, okay, for instance, right? Marley and I found this amazing studio to like recorded.
Yeah.
And we were like,
love it.
Yeah, obsessed. So we were sitting here and we were like, okay, these are the numbers. This is what it's going to cost.
Well,
whatever.
Even going into the first episode, all of our episodes have been filmed here. Yeah. It's an awesome location. The one we film at is in Boca. It's called a content studio. They have a bunch of different rooms and like furniture and equipment and just an amazing staff.
Like we just got here and everything was done.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes everything so
Like,
easy and convenient. But typically when people start out a podcast, like they would any business venture, it's I'm not going to put in money to things that I can do on my own. So instead of Chrissy and I being like, which we very well could have said, let's make our own little setup at the salon or at a house.
We played with the idea.
We did play with it, but then we were like, no.
It would have been half-assed.
First impression, we need high quality content. And then we did it, and we were like, well, now we screwed ourselves, not really screwed ourselves over, but kind of did.
The fear did hit.
It did, because
I'm not
going to
lie to you.
Now we need to keep it going, because if not, like, what happens to our quality?
Yep.
What does that look like
Yep.
on the outside? And we noticed how beneficial it was investing in this, because we have, like, everyone that has come to me, friend or not friend, that's like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear your podcast. It's simply because they see the quality that's put into
That's been
it
put out.
so that we can promote it in the right way. And my response is always, that is because we're actually like monetarily investing into this. Like we want it to work. The quality is so good because we are fully investing into this in ourselves, and we plan to do it long term. And I've seen people like from school that are posting YouTube channel launching, podcast launching, and I do try and give it a listen, but I can't, and I'm not excited for it because it's a picture or video they took in their room on their iPhone, and there's no quality behind it, which then mirrors that they're not invested in it. So why should I be invested into it?
Yeah. It's all an energetic exchange. But also too, like when we decided to do this, I literally told you.
Yeah.
I was like, I know, hands down, that this money's going to come to me.
Yep.
I'm not going to seek it. The money for me to be able to pay my portion of this is going to come to me. I shit you the fuck not. And you freaking know because you manage my Instagram. I literally a week later get a message from a influencing like company.
Yeah. Essentially, a company in your industry.
That literally, they're in my industry, and they reached out to me. They were like, listen, we love your page. We love you. How would you feel if we paid you monthly? And the dollar amount was to the T of what I need to pay. Pretty much, right?
Essentially, I mean, it definitely had you take the step of, okay, I got this.
Yeah, like I literally texted Marley, and I was like, there was a couple things that like I manifested that week that I was like, holy shit.
Organic follower growth.
Yeah,
we talked about, I think, episode 2, like the number nonsense topic.
There were a couple things that I manifested. Again, I was showing up though. Like it's not like I wasn't showing up. Like I was putting in the work. I was putting out my prayer, like putting out to the universe what it was that I wanted.
As simple as when we went to the beauty store, we physically and energetically spoke to the cashier.
Oh yeah, she like ate me up and like
then
wanted
she
to follow
followed
me.
you on Instagram.
Yeah.
So yes, you spoke it into existence and you changed your mindset instead of being like, what's happening to my followers, to I'm gonna get organic
I was just
followers.
going to say, it went from me seeking to me being like, this will happen to me. It will flow for me. It will happen.
Us booking weddings for photography.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Guys, it is so crazy. I am a firm believer. And I know that you hear me say it all the time. If something was not meant for me, it wouldn't work so effortlessly, right?
Yeah.
So if any of you guys are engaged, getting married, or have a family shoot you want to book,
or if you hope that your boyfriend proposes to you soon, send this little episode to them as a hint.
So Marley and I were literally sitting down, actually at the photo shoot for this.
Yeah, our podcast branding shoot.
Yeah. And I have always been behind the camera. I bought my first Canon camera, like high quality Canon camera, like maybe 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And have always been just like shooting photos of clients. I used to like love just like being behind the camera and like really being involved in it. And then just over time, I think that I let the opinion of others like get to me. So
of
like
course.
I fell out of love with it. And then I started working with Marley on my page, really getting behind the camera. And then it does something to you when you know that you are good at something, but then someone else like validates you, right? Not that like I think any of us need validation, but
at the end of the day, everyone needs reassurance.
Yeah,
in some
like
way. Yeah.
Me picking up the camera and you being like, damn bitch, like these are really good photos.
Yeah.
Like you're really good at this. Like I'm so proud of you. I was like,
oh
my God, wait, I love this.
When we went to, well, yes, I always try with my clients. I'm obviously the one responsible for the content, but I always want them to learn, because at the end of the day, like they should know what's going on behind it. So even
I'm
when
also crazy involved though.
Yeah, which is some of my clients don't want it. They don't want to touch the camera. They don't want to do anything, and that's fine. Like at the end of the day, that's what I'm there for. But even when we went to that one networking event, I was like, bring your camera, and it's free time for us to kind of just see what you like doing, what you are comfortable doing. But like if you weren't kind of like pushed into that again, would that passion like flourish
probably
again?
not.
Probably not.
No.
You would have gotten comfortable with giving it up.
100%. So at that like photo shoot, Marley and I were like toying with the idea, because like I genuinely started to like love being behind the camera again.
Yeah.
Marley loves being behind the camera. So we were like, okay, what if we started doing photography on the side? Like it can just be a hobby that like we turn into like another form of income and like another business. And then while we started talking about it, our friend C, who I've known for like over 9 years at this point, I've been doing her hair, she's my go-to photographer for every branding shoot. She heard us talking and she was like, hold the phone, I want to do this. So we were like, okay, amazing. And from there, I think a week later we had our LLC, and 3 days after that we had our first
Discovery
booking
call.
Yep.
And it's
dominoed. Literally been domino from there. I mean, literally every week we have like 1 or 2 discovery calls.
But we're putting that effort in.
Absolutely. Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, yes, things are happening beautifully and organically for us. We show up for this though.
Every day.
Every day.
All day.
All day. We have like meetings over it. I mean, the energy that we're putting into Total Capture is absolutely insane. But we literally woke up this morning and got a booking for a wedding on Sunday. So that's the perfect example of like, it started off as an idea, right? We put our energy into it.
If we were scared,
I was just about to say, if we were scared and we were nervous, right? And we led from a place of like scarcity, this would not be happening.
Yeah, because we invested a ton of money into the podcast first shooting episode, between the branding shoot, the makeup, all the props, like everything all together. And if we went into it saying, I don't want to spend this unless I know that this is coming back, we'd never have the outcome that we've been getting and the feedback we've been getting of this is great. And same goes for Total Capture. If we weren't investing our time, our money, our energy into it, we would never have grown our bookings as quick as we've already
absolutely
done it.
not. And I genuinely know that that's why it's meant for us, because the way it has all panned out so effortlessly, in the sense of, yes, it is taking effort, but the way that it is so smoothly panning out, I'm like, oh, this is a no-brainer.
Even how nice it was that we decided to do like our sample session between the two of us after the recording and branding shoot day. If we didn't decide to do it that day and fill our plate, overloading it with that into our schedule, we would have never talked about it with C.
Now.
C would have never been like, I want to be on board, and we would have never grown it to the point we've
capacity
grown it
that
so
it's at.
quick.
Yeah, 100%. And that's just one of those things where I'm like, were we delusional as fuck? Yeah. Absolutely delusional as fuck, right? But that delusion, once we came out of like, okay, wait, this could possibly happen, turned into something so beautiful that then had like so much passion and drive like put into it. Now, with that being said, be smart with your money.
Definitely.
Like, I don't want you guys sitting here thinking that we're just like with our card, you know what I mean? Like, we're very smart, and like, be smart, right? Like, if your passions require you to like feed it financially, like, understand that like you have to spend money to make money,
and possibly give up to get something else.
Yes,
like
you're going to have to. Nothing in this world energetically, because everything you do is an energetic exchange. Nothing that you do in this world is going to not have some type of bend, break, or sacrifice,
You're
right?
gonna have to cut an inch off of something to get a foot off something else. Like, even time, like, we had to reassess what time are we putting into the podcast compared to the time we're putting into total capture to be able to balance and feed into both of them the way they need to be fed into. And I always think about that when I'm opening my books for more clients. It's how am I going to feed in, like, even time wise, energy wise, to make sure all of them are good before I need to consider who am I gonna have to bring onto the team. So yes, like, fill your plate, because you won't ever be able to get what you want out of life setting limitations on yourself,
but without, like, burning out.
Don't overdo it. Reassess. Sit back and be like, okay, this is what's going into it. This is great. This I need to pull back on. This I need to, like, figure out before kind of diving into it just blindly.
And, like, honestly, like, do your manifestations, right? Like, be delusional. Like, do romanticize your life, right? Like, if I wouldn't have sat down and romanticized Chrissy 2.0, right? And I wouldn't have, like, really fed into this version and idea of, like, who it was that I wanted to become, who it was that I wanted to step into, I wouldn't be sitting on this couch right now, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have Marley right next to me. I wouldn't have the salon that I have. I wouldn't have the career that I have, right? You have to have some type of delusion and some type of ability to romanticize who you are and who you want to become. But don't confuse romanticizing your life and the delusion of manifestation, right? Or the delusion of, like, what it is that you want, into thinking that, like, things are just going to be handed to you, right? Like, you can't just pray to have your dream body by the summer, right? You can manifest that you
have healthier
habits and that you can step into the version of yourself that you want to slowly, but, like, you yourself, like, have to wake up every morning, go to the gym, and, like, set yourself on, like, a pace that's going to, like, set you up for success, you know? But I don't know. It's something that I'm, like, really passionate about, because I hear it all the time, and I see, like, the buzz of, like, manifestation and, like, mental health journeys and all of these things. And for a really long time, I thought it was one thing that it wasn't. And it wasn't until it clicked for me that I was like, holy shit, I get it. When people say that, like, understanding that, like, we really do cultivate and create our own lives, like, it's in our ability to be whoever it is that we want to be. It really is just that, but it's understanding that it takes,
you have to show up for yourself,
you showing up. Yep. And also, like, shifting mindsets. Like, you can't think that you're going to make money, but also in the back of your mind be scared of having money or being scared of spending money. Two things cannot be true. I know that, yes, in some aspects, two things can be true, but in the reality of, like, manifestation and, like, growth and rewriting neural pathways, two things cannot be true. You cannot be scared of making money, but open yourself up to having it.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And I think that at the end of the day, if you're not happy with something, like, if you're not happy with where your business is at, if you're not happy with where your life is at, you are the only one that's able to change that.
Oh, yeah. It's no one else's fault but your own.
Yep.
100%. But that's a harsh reality.
It is. And a lot of people would rather be delusional and think of all these excuses and wait for it to just fall into place without putting the work in, so that they could sit there and, like, victimize themselves over.
Well, it's so much easier to do that.
It's easy. And that's why it's, like, at the
to
end
me,
of the day,
it's exhausting. I can't live like that.
But at the end of the day, that's why it's like, you need to put the work in, show up for yourself, because if not, nothing is ever going to change.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So get your journals, manifest, be delusional, but responsibly delusional. And I really do. I challenge anyone who's listening to this episode today to think of one aspect that you want to change, or one mindset that you want to shift, and write it down. And after you write it down, think of who it is that you need to step into becoming in order to make that change happen. And then I challenge you for 30 days to really focus on making those changes. And then hit me up on Instagram.
Yep.
And tell me how you feel in 30 days.
And
I'd love to
what's
hear.
changed, just like an overall, because it will change.
No,
like
it will.
100%.
There's literally, like when I tell you that it 100% will change, and abundance and happiness and peace and all of the things that you yearn for and want will start flowing to you.
Yeah.
I'm so serious when I say hit me up. I want to hear about it.
We want to know. We want to know. Well, I guess we'll just stay tuned for your updates, and you guys stay tuned for next week.
Love ya.